Hello everyone, I am Emmanuel, a young software and DevOps engineer, and welcome to this series of videos. This series will mainly focus on Ansible and Terraform hands-on projects with AWS. So if you are a beginner and you ever wondered how Terraform can be used along with Ansible, this is the right place for you. So without any further ado, let's get started. First step, we are going to create an IAM user. An IAM user is our user that we are going to use instead of the root. So as best practice, it is always important and recommended to create a user which is going to do all the job instead of using our root user. This is because if our root user gets compromised or if a hacker gets our root user, he will be able to do anything. So we will create an IAM user. If you don't have an AWS account, please, you can create one. It's pretty simple, and you come back. So let's create IAM user. And on the left hand side, you are going to see users. I have already one user, so I will guide you how to create a user. Click on this create user. You enter your name. It can be anything. You enter just your username. You mark this provide user access. You come over here. You provide a password. This is the password you are going to use to log in with your user. So set a password, and then you click next. Now we are going to attach the policy directly. Policies are like rules that we are going to attach to the user, and it's with those rules, there are those rules that will determine what our user is capable of doing or not. So for the sake of this video, we are going to attach the admin access, but as best practice, it is always important or recommended to provide just a specific role for that user instead of putting the user as administrator. So you click on next. Here you are going to see all the permissions, you are going to see your username, and then you just click on create user. Now it is important to note that we also need to create access keys. Rush on security credentials. We are going to use the access keys. The access keys are the keys that we will use to authenticate or that will prove our user is authenticated. So it will provide us with a private access key and a secured access key. So let's create the access key. You click on the command line and then you check. Click on next, and then you are going to put a short description. You can put here Terraform access key, and then you click on create access key. Now, important note, when you create the access keys, it's going to give you the access key ID and the secret access keys. So keep them safe like this one. Keep them safe and don't share them, and download the CSV and then keep it because you can only see it once. So as next step, we are going to install the AWS command line. The AWS command line will enable us to use our AWS bed in the terminal instead of going on the browser and be clicking on everything. So with this AWS, the command line, we are going to manage everything on the terminal. So click on AWS command line install. So if you are using Linux, you click on Linux. If you are using Mac OS or Windows, you will just follow the steps. Since I'm using Ubuntu, we are going to use Linux. So you scroll down on this part. These are the commands that we will run in order to install the AWS CLI. So let's copy it, and then we are going to keep it somewhere. Let's just see here. Okay, so we are going to curl this link, and we are going to unzip the package and install. So let's go in our server, clear this, we sudo as the root. It's always important to update your server. So let's first update. Good. So the next step, we are going to install the curl. We are going to install the curl and the unzip, because we are going to use this tool in order to run these commands. Okay, so let's run this first command. Good. We are going to unzip it. It's unzipping. And then finally we are going to install it. We don't need this sudo, we are already the root. So now we will check if version. Good. The AWS CLI is installed. So as the next step, we are going to configure now the AWS, because you remember when we were creating our access keys on AWS, we had the access key ID, we had the secret access key. So we are going to use it in order to authenticate our IAM user that we created. So just type AWS configure. It's going to ask you for things. It's going to ask you the access key ID, which we are going to take it here. Next is going to ask you the secret access key. Not here. The secret access key. Now the default region, I'm going to use the US East one, which is the North Virginia. You can use whatever region you want, but this default output, we are going to use the JSON. So put JSON there. Good. Now let's check if everything was configured by running this command. We are going to run the AWS STS get caller identity. Good, you are going to see your user ID, your account, and your ARN. That means that the configuration was successful. For the next step, we are going to install now Terraform. Terraform, as we know, is a tool that enables us to create infrastructures in the cloud. It can be on any cloud provider, AWS, GCP, or Microsoft Azure. It can be anywhere. So Terraform helps us to create or to automate the creation of this infrastructure. So let's install Terraform. Just type Terraform install and we go to the official or the canonical documentation. If you are on Mac OS, you will just follow it with Pro. If you are on Windows, you will first install Chocolate and then you will make Choco install Terraform. But since we are using Ubuntu, which is a Linux distro, we are going to use these steps or follow these steps. So firstly, we are going to run this command. We will run this command. Good. We will proceed. We are going to install the HashiCorp GPG key by running this command. Nice. Then we are going to check the key if it corresponds. Good. We are going to proceed with this command. And lastly, we are going to, since we already updated our server, we can still update, but it's not going to update, so let's just run it. But we already did that. Okay, lastly, we are going to install the Terraform. Okay, now we are going to check if Terraform was successfully installed by running Terraform-v. Good. You are going to see that the version of Terraform v1.14.5 Terraform was successfully installed. Now for the next step, we are going to install Ansible. Remember we said Terraform provision or create infrastructures, but now Ansible comes in to configure those infrastructures. Imagine we create servers, let's say EC2 instances, but now we are going to use the Ansible in order to configure. For example, we can configure Nginx, we can configure any web server, install packages. So Ansible comes in as a configuration tool. So we are going to install the Ansible. Let's say Ansible install. Go to Ansible documentation. Ansible also is pretty simple to install. Rough Chevalier. Installing Ansible on specific operating system. As we are using Ubuntu, we are going to scroll down. If you are using Fedora, just follow those steps. Yes, we are going to use it. Install Ubuntu, install Ansible on Ubuntu. We will run this command. We are not going to run this command. We are going to run the second one because the update we already ran the update command. So the next one we are going to run this. We are going to add the repository. Ansible will check the repository. It's with this repository that we will install the Ansible from that repository. Switching. Okay, now the last step, we are going to install the Ansible. Yes. Okay, after a short period of time, we are back. Let's see if Ansible was successfully installed. Hyphen version. Good. Ansible was installed, and we can see the version. We can also see the Ginger version. So, lastly, we are going to generate our SSH keys. So, with these keys, we are going to use these keys in order to connect to our remote server. So when Ansible will be doing the automation, it's going to use that key in order to get access to our remote server, which is located in the cloud. So we are going to generate those SSH keys by running SSH key gen. We are going to tag it and use the RSA algorithm. The bit as we are going to use the 1496. So it's telling us that it's going to keep those files here on this location. It's going to provide both the public key and the private key. So those SSH keys work like, let's say, the lock and the key, our normal lock and key. So if those two are not combined and are not identical or related, it's not going to work. So that makes the SSH key very powerful and difficult to hack. So let's press enter. We are not going to use a passphrase. You can also put a passphrase. A passphrase is just like a password that will be asked to you again when you do the automation. But since we use it with Ansible for automation, we are not going to enter the passphrase. Just press enter. So now it has generated both the public key and the access key. Let's check it. Let's check. So you can see the ID RSA as we set up here, and the ID RSA.pub is the public key. So remember, this ID RSA is the private key, and this one should not be shared. It's very sensitive, should not be shared. But this one, the public key, is the one we are going to use, so it can be shared. It is safe to share, but this private one should remain in your local computer, so it should not be shared. So the next step, we are going to check the permissions, because the private key should have a low permission, so it should not be too open. If not, we are going to have some errors during automation. So we are going to check the permission by running the ls-l id. So you can see here that it has the read and the write permission, which is 600. Read and write for owner, 0 for group, and 0 for others. So we are going to put it to just the read. So we are going to change the permission to 400 of this. We check again. So now the permission is just the read. So the owner will be able just to read it, the group nothing, and the others nothing. So this marks the end of this video. What we did is we created our IAM user. We set up the access keys for our IAM user that we use in our AWS CLI. We install it, we configure it, and then we install the Terraform. We install Ansible, and then we generated our SSH keys that will be used to connect remotely to our server. So this marks the end of this video. In the next video, we are going to jump directly into project, and we are going to see how Terraform and Ansible both work together. Okay, thanks for watching, and see you in the next one. I'm out.